The waitress's daughter's hidden wisdom transforms a billionaire's life-changing deal. Emma glanced out the window of the diner, her heart pounding as the sleek black car rolled into town. Nathan, the billionaire with dreams big enough to overshadow their small community, had arrived. She could feel the tension in the air, a heavy blanket draped over the diners who, like her, cherished their little corner of the world. Her mother, busy at the counter, had worked long hours to keep food on the table, threading love into every meal she served. Emma remembered her mother's words, forged from struggles: "Never let anyone take what matters most." Today, those words echoed louder than ever. Inside the diner, the smell of coffee mingled with freshly flipped pancakes, but Emma hardly noticed. As Nathan walked in, his tailored suit and confident demeanor sent a wave of unease through her. He was here to buy them out, to bulldoze what they had built over generations. But she knew, deep down, that he didn't understand their story. "Just a coffee, please," Nathan ordered, his voice cool and detached. But when Emma served it, their eyes met, and something flickered. "You're just a kid," he remarked dismissively, but Emma couldn't let it go. She leaned in slightly, her voice steady but warm. "It's not just about business," she said, surprising even herself. "This town, it's like family. We've built something here, memories, friendships. You can't put a price on that." He raised an eyebrow, intrigue sparking beneath his otherwise hardened facade. Emma felt a flutter of hope. Perhaps she had caught his attention, even if only for a moment. As he sipped, she noticed the slightest tension in his jaw, a shift in his gaze. Meanwhile, the townsfolk had banded together, voices rising in unison against Nathan's plan. Emma was becoming the heartbeat of this movement, rallying neighbors and friends. But amidst her passion, she felt their skepticism. "What can she possibly know?" they whispered, dismissing her as just the waitress's daughter, too inexperienced to lead. Still, Emma pushed forward, believing in the change they could make. Her heart began to swell with a palpable intensity she hadn't felt before. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue." Emma knew the moment of truth was fast approaching, a community meeting at the town hall, and Nathan was invited. As she stood at the podium, nerves twisted in her stomach, but she remembered her mother's resilience. "We're not just
fighting for our businesses. We're fighting for our hearts. We are more than numbers on a balance sheet." Her voice rang clear, raw with emotion. The room was charged with energy. Even Nathan's icy composure melted just a fraction. But before she could grasp his wavering spirit, he regained control. "This is business," he shot back, conviction hardening his words. In that moment, Emma felt the weight of disappointment crash down. He was slipping back into his ambition, and she was left standing alone with a vulnerable heart. With the town's future hanging by a thread, the fight was far from over. Emma's spirit ignited hope, but would it be enough? The question lingered, spinning endlessly in the air, as Nathan's eyes flickered with conflict. Would he embrace community or cling to cold profit? Emma's journey had just begun, and with every passing moment, the stakes grew higher. The town hall meeting wrapped up in a swirl of heated voices, each person throwing their opinions into the mix. But Emma's heart sank as she caught sight of Nathan's indifference. He sat back in his chair, arms crossed, quiet yet ever present. She had stirred something in him, yet the hard edges of his ambition kept pushing her words away, like waves breaking on a rocky shore. As the crowd started to disband, Emma felt a tug at her sleeve. It was Mrs. Patterson, the oldest resident and a staple in the community. "You did good, dear," she said, eyes glistening. "Keep speaking. They need to hear you." Emma nodded, grateful for the encouragement, but doubt clung to her like a shadow. "I'm just a waitress's daughter," she murmured, more to herself than to Mrs. Patterson. The woman shook her head. "No, love, you are more than that. You carry all our voices inside you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." With that lingering in her mind, Emma turned back to the diner, the familiar sounds of clinking dishes and sizzling bacon welcoming her home. Her mother was wiping down the counter, and upon seeing Emma's troubled expression, she paused. "What happened?" Her voice was both soothing and concerned. "We lost him," Emma replied, deflated, her dreams of uplifting the community feeling burdensome. "I tried, but he just doesn't see." "Sometimes it takes a bit of light to spark a fire," her mother responded gently. "You may just have to keep trying until that light finds its way into his heart." Later that night, as shadows danced against the walls of her room, Emma replayed the words she had spoken at the meeting. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting in Nathan. He had been intrigued for a moment, hadn't he? Maybe it was time to find a way to reach him directly, not through anger or threats, but with understanding. Days turned into a week, with Emma's resolve hardening like steel. She decided she would confront Nathan again, but this time it would be different. She would find a way too.
Connect with him outside the sterile confines of business and hostility. As the sun rose on another busy morning, Emma made her preparatory plan. Breakfast supplies filled the kitchen, and the aroma of brewed coffee wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. When Nathan walked into the diner that day, something in her heart shifted. She held the coffee pot in her hands and offered him a warm smile. "Can we talk?" she asked, surprising even herself with how steady her voice sounded. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "About what?" "About us, about the town. No deals and no business, just two people talking." Nathan hesitated, the weight of her words palpable. Emma could see the internal battle in his eyes, the gears turning as he weighed his options. What if he finally saw what she saw? What if he understood that value didn't always equate to profit? "I'm listening." His voice, though guarded, held a hint of curiosity. As Emma slid into the seat across from him, the air crackled with potential. She opened her mouth to speak, ready to share her heart. But before she could form the words, the front door swung open, and a town resident burst in, face flushed with urgency. "Emma, you need to see this." Emma's heart raced. What could it be? Fearing the worst, she glanced back at Nathan, who seemed equally unsettled. The uncertainty in the room strung tension tight. With the atmosphere suddenly charged, Emma followed the resident out, her mind racing. What if this news changed everything? What if this moment shifted the tides for them all? As she stepped outside, the moment felt suspended, a breath held in anticipation. Would this pressuring urgency bring them together or tear them apart further? And standing in that doorway, the community watching, Emma felt the weight of everything on her shoulders, knowing she had to act. What awaited them outside could be the spark needed to light the way to a brighter future, or it could be an echo of despair. With her heart pounding, she prepared for the unexpected. Emma stepped outside, the cool breeze sweeping across her face, contrasting with the warmth of the diner behind her. The resident who had called her out stood in front of the gathering crowd, vibrant with a mix of bewilderment and excitement. "What's going on?" Emma asked, her heart racing. "There's been a fire at the old mill," the resident exclaimed, her voice trembling. "It's not far from here. They're saying it started in the warehouse, and they can't contain it." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emma felt a surge of adrenaline, her thoughts racing. The mill was an old landmark in their town. Its presence felt even amidst uncut grass and falling bricks. If it went up in flames, it would be another loss for a community that had seen too many already. "Nathan," she called, glancing back towards the entrance of the diner. He was just stepping out. His face a mix of concern and focus, eyes darting to the people around him. "Let's get everyone organized.
he said in a hushed tone, as if he were already strategizing. "We need to make sure everyone is safe and see if we can help with the fire." Emma's heart sank for a moment, caught between fear for the mill and the flicker of something evolving in Nathan. His immediate sense of responsibility spoke volumes. Maybe he did care more than he let on. As the crowd began to mobilize, Emma felt a jolt of determination. She rushed forward, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Everyone, let's form a group to help the firefighters. We can bring them water, blankets, let's make sure they have everything they need." Around her, heads turned, and people nodded, the initial shock giving way to action. She caught Nathan's eye, and for a heartbeat, the tension dissolved. He stepped closer, a sense of urgency cutting through the air. "You're right," he nodded. "We need to do this together." With Nathan at her side, they moved through the crowd, organizing teams, delegating tasks, and raising spirits. Emma felt the heat of purpose driving her forward. She was no longer just the waitress's daughter. In those frantic moments, she became a leader, a beacon for those around her. As they worked, Emma noticed something shifting in Nathan. He was no longer just the ambitious businessman. This was a side of him she hadn't seen before. He was caring, engaged, and fiercely determined. When he tossed a jug of water to a volunteer, there was something about the way he smiled, the weight of his ambition replaced with something lighter, something shared. With the firefighting team now bolstered by the community's efforts, Emma couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. She had come to talk with Nathan about their town, about future possibilities, but here she was, standing shoulder to shoulder with him in a true test of character. Just as the sirens wailed closer, she turned to him. "Maybe this is what we needed, working together like this." Nathan nodded, his expression earnest. "Maybe you're right. There's a lot more at stake than just profit." Suddenly, the sound of a loud crash echoed from the direction of the mill, jolting everyone into silence. The crowd fell still, eyes wide in disbelief. "What just happened?" Emma whispered, adrenaline coursing through her veins, a knot forming in her stomach. Before Nathan could respond, a figure appeared from behind the emergency vehicles, a firefighter waving them over, his face serious. "It's worse than we thought. We need more people over here, now." As panic stirred among the townsfolk, Emma felt the gravity of the situation deepen. They weren't just fighting flames, they were fighting for their history, their identity, their very future. "What does this mean for us?" she wondered aloud, sweeping her gaze across the crowd. And in that moment, as they faced an uncertain reality, she realized that the connection she had begun to forge with Nathan was about to be tested in ways neither of them could have anticipated. Would they rise to the occasion, or would the flames consume not just the mill, but their chance for reconciliation? With her heart racing, Emma stood at the brink of an unexpected journey, ready to face whatever came next. Emma felt the weight of the moment settle heavy on her shoulders. She searched the crowd for anyone who could offer hope or direction. Instead, she found confusion, fear reflected in too many eyes. Nathan stood beside her, his brow furrowed, and for the first time she noticed flecks of concern in his normally assured demeanor. "Let's go," Nathan urged, breaking the spell of silence that had gripped the crowd. He moved quickly toward the fire, Emma close behind. The heat from the flames was palpable, a wave of heat that made her skin prickle. Sirens continued to blare, adding to the chaos. As they approached the scene, Emma saw the firefighters battling unruly flames that danced and crackled like wild animals unleashed. The scene was chaotic, full of shouting and urgency. Fire hoses snaked across the ground, water streaming toward the side of the blaze. A frantic firefighter waved them over, a face pale under soot and sweat. "We need volunteers to help clear debris. There's a risk that the roof might collapse." Emma felt the surge of adrenaline pulsate through her. "Let's do it," she shouted, determination taking the wheel. At that moment, she understood that the mill was more than bricks and timber. It was their town's heartbeat, their shared memories. Nathan's gaze met hers, and something unspoken passed between them.
He broke into action, shouting for volunteers and organizing groups to clear the way. Emma fell into a rhythm, moving through the crowd like she belonged, her hands working swiftly to help, her heart igniting with purpose. The minutes dragged on like hours, each moment feeling heavier than the last. As they worked, she heard snippets of conversations, their fears, their hopes. What if it spreads? Will they save it? The words were raw, and for every strength she witnessed in others, there was also vulnerability. Suddenly, another crash echoed from inside the mill, this one a dragging sound, deep and menacing. Emma froze, her heart stopping for just a moment. Instinctively, she looked at Nathan, who had also turned toward the noise, his jaw set tight. There was no denying it, this fire was threatening everything they held dear. "They need us to keep pushing," Nathan called out, rallying those around them. Emma's spirit soared. In this madness, they were learning to take the lead together. She quickly glanced at the firefighter who had called them over earlier. "What's the best way to help?" she asked, her voice steady. "Keep the area clear. We can't risk injuries. We need these firefighters focused." He coughed slightly, another wave of smoke rolling in their direction. Nodding, Nathan picked up the pace, moving debris aside, urging others to follow their lead. In the thick of the chaos, a sudden thought struck her. Beyond the flames, beyond the panic, lay an opportunity to forge something anew with Nathan. As the minutes blurred into each other, strain began to show on Nathan's face. She waved him over for a quick break, gripping his arm gently. "You look exhausted," he chuckled through labored breaths. "Yeah, but I've never felt more alive. Strange, huh?" Emma met his gaze, vulnerable and sincere. "It's like we're part of something bigger than ourselves right now." But even as she spoke those words, tension knotted in her gut. As the fire crackled and the crowd surged, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the edge of something monumental. If they could weather this storm together, could it change everything? A sudden shout broke through the intensity. "We need more water over here!" Emma turned to Nathan, their eyes locking once more. They were now pushing against a tide that felt bigger than them both. Would they be able to stand united against these flames, or would the heat of the moment consume every fragile connection they'd started to build? With her heart pounding, Emma brushed her hair back and took a deep breath. They were all in this together now, but how much would they have to sacrifice to survive the fire's fury? The question hung in the air like the smoke around them, as Emma readied herself for whatever lay ahead. Emma's heart raced as she stepped back into the chaos. The firefighters remained at the heart of the turmoil, their figures silhouetted against a backdrop of embers and smoke. It felt like everything was spinning, yet she found focus in the movement around her. "Keep it clear, water now!" Nathan's voice boomed, slicing through the roar of the fire. Emma felt a sense of warmth bloom within her, knowing he was stepping into leadership. His confidence ignited a fire in her as well. They moved together, pushing through the crowd that had gathered in a mix of awe and horror. As she flung aside an old charred piece of wood, Emma noticed a little girl at the edge of the crowd. The child clutched a teddy bear, her wide eyes fixed on the flames. Emma's heart twisted. "Hey, are you all right?" she called, moving towards her. The girl didn't answer. Instead, she looked desperately at her mother, who stood frozen. "Mommy," the girl finally whimpered, "I don't want to lose it." Emma felt a wave of empathy. "You won't lose it," she promised, kneeling in front of the girl. "Can I help? Do you want to keep it safe?" The mother snapped out of her trance, and together they moved closer to the child, Emma's instinct to protect kicking in. "I can hold it for you," Emma said gently, extending her hand. The girl hesitated, but then slowly reached out. Emma took the teddy bear, feeling the softness in her hands, a stark contrast to the chaos around them. "It's going to be okay," she reassured her, seeing the girl's grip start to loosen. Just as the little girl smiled faintly, a roar from the mill jolted everyone. A plume of black smoke billowed skyward, and a dozen heads turned at once, eyes wide with shock. Emma stood up, the teddy bear clutched tightly. "Everyone needs to stay back," Nathan shouted, his face tight with urgency.
Emma felt a tug of fear, hot and simmering just beneath the surface. The fire required respect, not just bravery. As she backed away alongside the girl and her mother, the adrenaline surged through her. She understood. This wasn't just about the mill or the flames. It was about the people, the community. The weight of responsibility hung in the air, thick and heavy. Then, a fire marshal approached them, his gear glistening in the glow of the flames. "You all need to help coordinate. We have to establish a safe perimeter." His voice was steady, eyes sharp as he scanned the chaos. Emma nodded, adrenaline carrying her forward. Moving back towards Nathan, she could see the determination etched into his features. "What do we do?" she asked, urgency coating her words. "I need you by my side. Can you help direct people?" He motioned to a cluster of strangers who looked uncertain. "Of course," she replied, the fear morphing into something stronger. The noise swirled around them, but in that moment she felt empowered. She turned to the group, her voice louder, steadier. "Listen up. We need to form a line over here, help keep others safe." As people shifted and began following her lead, Emma realized the energy was building. The fire may threaten their town, but it also brought them together. For the first time in ages, burdened by her own vulnerability, she felt a flicker of hope. Yet, as she caught Nathan's eye, a realization crashed against her. With the mill engulfed, everything they held dear seemed at risk. They were fighting one battle, but what about the tides that might wash away everything else? Emma pushed that thought aside, focusing on the task at hand. But just when she felt they were gaining momentum, a loud cracking sound erupted, drawing her attention back to the mill. The roof was starting to sag under the weight of the flames. "Nathan!" Emma screamed, panic creeping in. "What now?" His eyes widened, a deep furrow forming on his brow. "We need to get everyone back. It's going to collapse." In that instant, the reality of the situation settled over Emma like a heavy blanket. They couldn't just help themselves. They had to save the community. Would they be able to stand strong, or would they get caught in the fallout? The moment hung there, as if the flames themselves were inhaling all hopes for the future. How much were they willing to risk to snatch back what was already burning away? Emma could feel the weight of Nathan's words settling into her bones. Time felt suspended for a moment as the imminent collapse of the mill loomed before them. The crackling flames and the acrid smoke raised the tension in the air. Her heart pounded, a frantic rhythm against the chaos. "Everyone, move back!" Nathan shouted again, urgency sharpening his tone. The crowd began to react, their faces painted with confusion and fear. Emma grabbed the hand of the little girl, feeling the small, trembling fingers in her own. "Come on, sweetheart, let's get you to safety," she urged, keeping her voice steady despite the turmoil all around. They moved together, the little girl's mother close behind them. Swaying like a blade of grass in the wind, Emma felt a swelling determination. The people around her didn't just need direction, they needed hearts brimming with courage. She sensed the crowd tighten, the panic rising as the noise of the fire grew louder, as if it were a living, breathing entity. "Please, stay calm. We're going to help each other," Emma called out, her voice rising over the disturbances. She tried to distinguish the faces lost in fear, reading their expressions as if they told stories without words. A few brave souls began to gather around her, drawn by her words. "Follow us," they echoed, and soon a line began to form. They extended past Emma, intent on escorting others back. But even as they moved, Emma's eyes remained trained on the mill. In the midst of the frightening scene, she caught sight of an older man clutching a baby, his eyes wide. He stumbled slightly, his foot caught on debris. "Here!" Emma shouted, rushing towards him. Just as she was about to reach, there was another loud crack, and the structure shifted ominously. The crowd gasped in unison as Emma's heart sank. "Nathan!" she screamed, turning back to him, desperation flooding her words. Nathan's gaze was sharp as he assessed the danger. "Get people back, now!" Emma motioned to the line of people, shouting commands, her own fear driving her forward. "Everyone, step back! The roof is going to fall!" The urgency in her voice rippled through the crowd like a wave, and they sprang into action. As she moved toward the elderly man again, she stumbled over a charred beam. Nathan's hand shot out, gripping her arm to steady her. "Not too close, Emma," he warned, his eyes filled with concern. She looked into his eyes and felt the familiar bond rekindled. "Help the man," she urged, pointing. He nodded, his jaw set in determination. Together, they all fought against the chaos. With an instinct born from the collective fear, they worked in unison, the bond of the community weaving a safety net around each other. Just then, there was a final, devastating explosion. A shifting of beams, a shower of sparks as the roof caved in. The ground trembled beneath them, and for a heartbeat, everything seemed to blur. Emma felt the air rush out of her lungs. But amid the roiling ash and debris, clear voices rose above the din. "Help, over here!" someone cried. Emma gasped, pulling herself upright. "Stay together!" she shouted, pushing against despair. She spotted the little girl still at her side, trembling, and with a fierce resolve, Emma squeezed her hand. "We won't leave you," she promised fiercely, rallying her strength. They had come too far. Every life was worth saving, even in the face of despair. As the crowd began to regroup, Emma felt the sense of collective strength returning. Who would respond next? Just as she caught her breath, she felt a knowing glance from Nathan. But the moment was cut short. A figure emerged from the smoke, an unexpected silhouette that sent waves of shock through the crowd. "Emma! Nathan!" a voice called out, sending a shiver down her spine. Was it someone they thought they'd lost? In that heartbeat, the past and present collided. What could this new revelation mean for the two of them and their community? The answer hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty and possibility. The figure slowly stepped closer through the flickering smoke, and Emma's heart raced as she strained to see beyond the hazy veil. Her mind was a chaotic whirl, piecing together fragments of memories, hoping to make sense of what was happening. As the smoke began to clear, Emma froze. It was Sarah, the waitress from down at the diner, the one they had all assumed had left town without a trace. Her usual bright smile was now smudged with soot, her eyes wide with urgency. "Emma, Nathan, I thought you might be here." Sarah's voice trembled, yet held an unmistakable strength. "Oh my God, Sarah!" Emma exclaimed, dashing toward her, relief washing over her as she briefly let go of the little girl's hand. The crowd parted, allowing them a moment amidst the chaos. "We thought you were gone." "I tried to get out, but I came back to help," Sarah replied, glancing uneasily at the billowing flames. "I saw the smoke from my place and knew I had to do something." Emma felt the warmth of hope ignite within her chest. "That's amazing, but it's dangerous. You shouldn't be here." "No, you don't understand," Sarah insisted, her voice rising over the din. "There's something in the back of the mill, something we need to save." Emma's mind raced. "What do you mean, something?" Before Sarah could answer, another explosion echoed through the air, causing the ground to shudder once again. Emma's breath hitched as she felt the panic rise in the crowd around them. "I know it sounds crazy," Sarah said hastily, catching Emma's gaze, "but there's a storeroom with supplies, enough to help everyone. We can't let it go up in flames." "But what about the danger?" Nathan interjected, stepping closer, concern etched across his face. Sarah shook her head firmly, determination glinting in her eyes. "We can't just walk away. People's lives are at stake. We can help them if we move now." Emma glanced at the people surrounding her, the fear, the terror on their faces, and she felt a rush of intensity spark within her. "Nathan, what do you think?" He hesitated, his brow furrowed. "It's too risky. The building could collapse at any moment." "But we can't leave them. If there's a chance we can save those supplies." Emma felt the tremble of desperation weave through her words, urging him to see the urgency of the moment. Nathan held her gaze, the calculation in his mind palpable. "Okay, but we stick together. No one goes off alone." With every heartbeat, they stepped closer to a decision that could change their fate. Emma nodded, her heart racing. This was it. If Sarah believed there was hope, they had to take that leap. "Let's move," Emma urged, gripping the little girl's hand tightly again, pulling her closer. "Stay with me." They made their way through the crowd, Sarah leading the charge toward the back of the mill, with Nathan by their side. The heat enveloped them as they dodged falling debris, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The echo of the fire crackled with an unnerving intensity. Every step felt like an eternity, every sound a reminder of the chaos surrounding them. Emma could feel her heart pounding louder than the flames, a reminder of what they were fighting for, the lives they hoped to protect. As they reached the heavy door of the storeroom, Nathan pushed against it, bracing himself against the heat. "On 3, he called out, and they all nodded, steeling themselves. 1, 2, 3. With a heave, they thrust the door open, and the sight before them took Emma's breath away. Stacks of supplies glowed in the remnants of light. Food, water, blankets, all of it sat waiting, untouched amidst the hell surrounding them. Emma swallowed hard, the weight of realization hitting her. "We can save so many." But then a rumble echoed from above, and dust began to fall. The roof groaned ominously. "Get in," Nathan shouted, ushering everyone forward. But as they crowded inside, a blinding flash lit up the loading bay, rattling the walls around them. Emma ducked instinctively, covering her eyes as chaos erupted once more. Then she heard Sarah scream, "Emma, behind you!" Heart racing, Emma turned, and fear clawed at her throat. A fallen beam hurtled down, ready to crush anyone who didn't move fast enough. "Run!" Nathan shouted, pushing them all forward as the mill shook violently. Emma's heart raced in sync with the urgency, but would they make it out in time? The answer loomed as the ground beneath her trembled, threatening to swallow them, and she wondered, could they even save what they came for? The moment was charged with uncertainty, and as they stumbled towards the light, the path to safety shimmered ahead of them. But would it? Enough to save what truly mattered? The dust filled the air like a thick fog, choking Emma as she struggled to comprehend what was happening. The world around her had become a wild tempest of flame and fear. Behind her, she could hear the echo of Nathan's hurried voice cutting through the chaos. "Keep moving, just a bit further." Emma hadn't fully grasped the enormity of their situation until Sarah's scream sliced through her. She twisted around, her heart hammering in her chest as she caught sight of the looming beam. It soared towards them, a terrible omen of what could happen if they faltered. "Go, go!" Emma shouted, shoving the little girl forward, her instincts kicking in. She propelled herself into motion, adrenaline surged through her limbs, driving her faster. They had to get out, had to find safety. With Nathan in tow and Sarah leading the way, they darted into the storeroom, narrowly escaping the crashing timber that splintered into the ground behind them. Emma couldn't shake the feeling, the weight of lives at stake pressed heavily on her shoulders. Inside the storeroom, the air was thick, not just with smoke, but with a tangible sense of purpose. They had discovered a trove of supplies, a potential life raft for the entire town, and Emma could barely breathe with the weight of responsibility that now lay ahead. "Grab what you can," Nathan commanded as he moved to the nearest stack of blankets. His eyes were wide, a mix of urgency and resolve swirling in his expression. "We don't have time to waste." As they began to fill their arms with supplies, Sarah's fingers brushed against a metal box tucked away in the corner. "What's this?" she wondered, curiosity sparking amid the chaos. Don't stop, just grab it, Emma urged, her instincts still rooted in survival. But something about that hidden box tugged at her, a quiet presence amidst the storm. In that moment, the unmistakable sound of cracking timber echoed around them, followed by deafening thuds. The walls shuddered again, and Emma felt the fear crawling back into her mind. What if they didn't make it out? What if they lost everything they had worked for? With a clash, the ceiling caved in, dust raining down. "Sarah, let's go!" Nathan shouted, his voice now tightly wound. But Sarah's fingers held fast to the box, her eyes suddenly shimmering with something deeper, something that felt like a whisper of fate. "We can't leave this. It could help them." "Help who?" Emma screamed back, panic pulsing through her veins. "We need to leave now." "Trust me, please," Sarah's voice broke through. In that fleeting moment, Emma saw the determination reflected in Sarah's eyes, the resolve to save not just supplies, but lives. The weight shifted, and Emma felt the walls of doubt crack. "Fine, grab it," Emma yelled, "but make it quick." With swift motions, they piled the last of the supplies into their arms before Sarah secured the box.
"Got it!" she exclaimed, and in that instant the ground jerked beneath them again. "Run, now!" Nathan barked, urging everyone forward, leading them back toward the main exit, the chaos bubbling around them relentlessly. They navigated their way through the storeroom, the path of safety growing narrower as fear and heat clashed fiercely in their minds. Emma's heart raced with every step they took. Just a little further, she thought, praying they could reach the exit before it was too late. But just as they approached the main doors, a massive thud resonated, and the entrance shuddered before them, almost as if it were mocking their desperate attempts to escape. "Emma, your shoulder!" Nathan cried out as splinters exploded from the doorframe. There was no time to react. In sheer instinct, Emma threw herself against the others, pushing them out of the way as the debris tumbled down towards them. Get out, she shouted, her voice hoarse. And then she felt it, a sharp pain lancing through her, knocking her backward. The darkness crept in, but the last thing she saw was Nathan's panicked face, straining against the chaos to reach her. "Emma!" he yelled, but the world faded around her. What did she fight for? Did she save them all? The answer slipped through her fingers like smoke. As the dust began to settle, a silence fell over the rebel room. And in that silence, a final cry stirred the air. "Help! Somebody help us!" A flicker of hope ignited within the shadows. But would anyone answer the call before it was too late? The darkness enveloped Emma like a heavy blanket, stifling her thoughts and trapping her in a void of uncertainty. The world spun around her, faint whispers melting into shadow, until finally a flicker of light broke through the haze. She blinked slowly, trying to grasp where she was. Faces spun into focus. Nathan hovered above her, his features twisted with worry. "Emma, stay with me!" His voice was frantic, a rope binding her to consciousness. The pain in her shoulder flared, a fierce reminder of what had just happened. She tried to move, but winced, feeling the weight of their surroundings bear down on her. The storeroom was no longer a sanctuary. It had morphed into a precarious trap, with sections of the ceiling sagging dangerously close. "Where's Sarah?" she croaked, fear lacing her voice as she pushed herself up, struggling against the haze that clouded her mind. "I'm right here!" Sarah's small voice broke through the chaos, and Emma felt relief flood her senses. The girl stood a few feet away, the metal box clutched tightly against her chest, eyes wide as she scanned the room. "We have to get out! We need to help everyone!" Nathan took a step back, tension radiating from him. "Emma, listen, we can't collapse now, if we get stuck." "No!" Emma shouted, adrenaline mixing with pain. "We can't abandon them. That call for help, it wasn't a coincidence. Someone needs us." A loud rumble echoed through the room, drowning out all thoughts of doubt. Nathan glanced at the ceiling, then at Emma, searching her face for answers. "But what if we can't? We have to try."
Emma interrupted, her heart swelling with determination. She pushed through the pain, scrambling to her feet despite a wave of dizziness. Together, we can't leave anyone behind. Nathan stood frozen, and Sarah's wide eyes shimmered with unspoken fears. Emma moved closer to both of them, then took a deep breath, letting the exhilaration of necessity take hold. "Hand me the box, Sarah. We need it. You've shown courage in holding on to it. Now let's find out what it can do." Sarah's fingers trembled, but she stepped forward, placing the box into Emma's hands. "What if it doesn't help? What if it's just—" "It will help." Emma squeezed the box tightly while searching for an escape route. "Trust me, we have each other, and we have to believe in this too." As if on cue, a thin shaft of light broke through a crack in the back wall. Hope swelled in Emma's chest. "There, we can make it." Nathan shook his head, his voice heavy with concern. "That's too risky. What if it collapses on us as we go through? Or what if it doesn't?" Emma shot back. "We only fail if we don't try." In a moment of silence that wrapped around them, she could feel them weighing their options. "We'll follow you," Nathan finally said, a fierce determination replacing numbness in his eyes. "We'll do this together." With a nod, Emma turned toward the narrow beam of light. She felt the heat from the flames licking at their heels as they moved forward, every step echoing against the backdrop of their fears. Just as they neared the wall, the ground shook once more, causing Sarah to stumble. Nathan caught her, and Emma pushed past them, growing impatient with the time slipping away. She could taste smoke on her tongue, a bitter reminder of the danger behind them. "Let's go!" she shouted, determination filling her voice. As they neared the beam of light, Emma's heart pounded. The time for hesitation was gone. She felt an electric charge in the air. The box in her hands vibrated slightly, a sign that something powerful might lie inside, a potential key to unlocking their survival. They squeezed through the jagged crack, hearts racing, and Emma stole a glance back at the storeroom. The weight of their mission settled heavily as she saw the shadows closing in. Would they truly make it out? But before she could let a flicker of doubt take root, a desperate scream tore through the air. "Help! Can anyone hear us?" That voice ignited another spark of energy inside her. Could it be someone she knew? Someone they could save? They had to find out. Emma felt the pulse of urgency thrumming in her chest, each desperate plea a reminder of the lives at stake. They were close to the crack in the wall, but every second felt like an eternity. Nathan and Sarah followed closely, the desperation glimmering in their eyes. "Keep moving," Nathan urged, pulling Emma forward. "We need to get through before it's too late." With sheer determination, they pushed into the narrow opening, squeezing as tightly as they could. Emma held the box close, feeling the odd, comforting warmth radiate from it. What awaited them might determine more than their survival. It could be the lifeline for their town, for everyone they cared about. Suddenly, the weight of the world crashed upon them as another tremor rocked the structure. Emma's heart raced faster than her legs could carry her. "We've got to hurry!" Beyond the narrow passage, she could see flickers of light piercing through the haze, illuminating a world that felt just out of reach. They stumbled through the gap, and as they emerged, the fresh air hit them like a burst of promise. They found themselves back in the chaotic heart of the mill's exterior, the fiery inferno still raging. But now they could see the firefighters battling valiantly, their shadows dancing against the orange glow. "Over here!" Sarah shrieked, her hand pointing toward a group of firefighters who were striving to make sense of the madness. Emma felt her heartbeat sync with the rhythm of hope. They had a chance to make a difference. "Let's go!" Emma shouted, rallying them forward. They rushed to the firefighters, but the crew was overwhelmed, struggling to maintain control amidst the chaos. "Those supplies!" one firefighter hollered at them, the tension thick in his tone as he pointed to the storeroom they had just escaped from. "We need whatever you can bring out." "That's what we found," Emma exclaimed, her voice rising above the din. "Food, water, blankets, we can help." As they relayed the news, she felt Nathan move alongside her, the strength in his presence a comforting shield against the impending disaster. "Let's go back and get everything we can carry," he shouted, urgency sharpening his edge. Emma locked eyes with Sarah and nodded. "We can do this." She wasn't just the waitress's daughter anymore. She was part of something much bigger, a community. "We'll take it all," Sarah chimed in boldly, her spirit brightening amid the harrowing circumstances. Together, they bolted back to the storeroom, dodging falling debris and thick plumes of smoke, grabbing supplies as quickly as their arms would allow. With each item they retrieved, Emma felt a sense of purpose swell within her. They weren't just salvaging objects, they were gathering hope, stitching fragments of their lives together, pooling their resources for a greater good. Once out, they sprinted back to the gathered firefighters, who stood astonished at their determination. "Here!" Emma shouted, laying down blankets and supplies at their feet, her heart racing with exhilaration. "Brilliant! This is exactly what we need," a firefighter replied, grabbing items as they came pouring out.
Nathan moved in with fierce energy, using his commanding presence to unite both townspeople and firefighters alike. "Everyone, we need to form an assembly line, pass supplies along." As people joined in, bodies working together in a dance of urgency, Emma saw fear turn into feeling. Courage poured into every hand that passed along supplies destined to save lives. And then, in the midst of it all, Emma felt a tug on her shoulder. She turned to see the little girl from earlier, who had once clutched her teddy bear tightly. Now her small arms were wrapped around a blanket, eyes shining bright. "You helped me," the girl whispered gratefully, and Emma's heart swelled. "No, we did," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. "Together." With that realization, everything clicked into place. It was not just about the mill, not just the fight, but the sheer unity of their town. They were more than individuals. They were a family, woven together through struggles, laughter, and love. Just then, another explosion roared from the mill, but this time, Emma's heart didn't drop with fear. She felt alive with purpose. "Keep going, we're not done yet," she cheered, knowing that whatever they faced next, they could conquer it together. They continued their relentless effort, passing endless supplies and uplifting each other's spirits. One by one, lives were touched and saved. Amidst the sweat and soot, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma caught Nathan's eye. In that moment, something sparked between them, a shared understanding that they held the power to change things. What started as a battle against greed had shifted into a rallying cry for community, resilience, and hope. As the smoke began to clear and the flames began to dwindle, Emma knew a new dawn awaited them. They would rebuild, not just houses or businesses, but the very essence of their town, unity. And as she turned to her neighbors, her heart full of gratitude and fierce love, she realized this was only the beginning of a much greater story, a narrative about hope, transformation, and the power of coming together when it counted most. In that moment, Emma felt a sense of peace envelop her, knowing that no matter what was lost to the fire, what thrived within them all would remain strong. This was their home, and it would rise again. Now that the fire is finally out and the chaos subsided, you must take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like now and help fuel the algorithm to spread these impactful tales far and wide. Comment your reactions and feelings about this thrilling ending, as we want to hear your voice. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need inspiration from this incredible transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Together, we can keep these stories alive.